Good morning.
Good morning. Doing good. Good to see you guys.
When you make a podcast, you want events to unfold in real time. I want to have my microphone there when learning is happening.
This is the story behind Sold a Story.
The podcast that's changing how kids are taught to read.
My friend made a mistake when they spelled thick.
Because them thought it was F.
I'm Emily Hanford. I'm an education reporter. I got interested in this question of how kids learn to read. More than a third of fourth graders can't even read on what is considered a basic level. Sold a Story is a podcast that investigates how teaching kids to read went wrong. And what I discovered is that in schools all over this country, and in other parts of the world too, kids are not being taught how to read.
It didn't seem like they were really teaching them to read. It seemed like they were teaching them to sound like they could read.
This has been wrong for going on 50 years, and this is what's happening likely in your school.
Back in 2016, I first met Rob and Maggie Gibson. Hello.
Hey, been a while.
How are ya?
Hey.
So we met like more than 7 years ago at this point.
Well, at that point, we were really in the thick of it.
You have 5 children. They all have dyslexia. And you would go to the school and be like, there's a problem here. And the school would say, no, there isn't. Can you talk a little bit about what that was like?
Excruciating, not just to us, but to the kids. Mm-hmm. One thing that we know now, years later, is how traumatic it was for the kids. The kids are just trying to survive.
So what I started to realize is that kids with dyslexia are kind of like canaries in the coal mine. There's something bigger going on here. We organize everything in a timeline. It starts in the 1600s, tracing the evolution of ideas about how kids learn to read and how to teach reading. We are up to 2,153 entries as of today. When you put things in a timeline like this, you can sort of see the story. Why is it that we're not teaching reading in a way that lined up very well with decades of scientific research?
What we aim to do is not teach the child words, letters, sounds, what I call it.
My task for Sold a Story was really to look at this team of authors and this one company who had helped sell this idea to school districts, to teachers, and had taken over the educational system.
We're going to see if the picture helps us to figure out what that word would be.
The idea is that beginning readers don't have to sound out the written words. But you can't be a good reader without good phonics skills.
I found that I was a great reader, and I was amazed.
I mean, I have words that I like to say because it's like fun to say them, like hedgehog.
I like the word dictionary a lot.
I really like the word onomatopoeia.
Toss. Your turn.
We reached all these new listeners that we never expected, and they end up showing up to school board meetings.
Based on a theory about how children learn to read.
School districts all across the country end up changing their textbooks, replacing them with things that match with the science of reading. Half the states just in the last couple of years are changing the way that reading instruction works since the podcast.
It was kind of like an aha moment, like this makes sense why it's not working, and it also makes sense why the science of reading is working.
It helped me recognize my place in the system and how I've contributed to inequities for children, but then also the role that I can play in remedying those and making sure that what we're doing now is we're doing right by kids. A bunch of people actually wrote us real letters. Dear Miss Hanford, thank you for what you are doing for our world. Your work helps to transform conversations. Here's one from George W. Bush himself. He listened to the 3rd episode. Very interesting research on your part.
it shows the power of journalism, that journalism can have a big impact.
Reading makes me feel confident, and it also makes me feel like my brain is growing a little bit bigger.
Reading a good book, you're like, what would happen if you were that person, and what would you choose?
The birds are chirping. The bees are buzzing.
I'm a journalist, but I'm a person who wants more kids to be good readers.
First grade babies, second grade cats.
This is my daddy, said Amelia Bedelia.
The room was silent except of the crackle of the fires.
The end of the story has yet to be written. My job is to continue to cover the story.
So the story is not over.
There are more episodes to come.